Corporal, were you present at a meeting that Lieutenant Kendrick held on the afternoon of August the 6th with the members of the 2nd Platoon?
Yes, sir.
Would you tell the court the substance of that meeting?
Lieutenant Kendrick told us that we had an informer in our group, that Private Santiago had gone outside the chain of command and reported to an NIS officer on someone in our platoon.
Did that make you mad? You can tell the truth, Corporal. It's all right. Did it make you mad?
Yes, sir.
How mad?
Private Santiago betrayed a code that we believed in very deeply, sir.
And were the other members of the squad, were they angry?
Objection!
Were Dawson and Downey?
Please, the court. Is the judge advocate honestly asking this witness to testify as to how the defendants felt on August 6th? This testimony is speculative and impermissible conjecture. Sustained.
Dawson or Downey tell you they were mad?
Objection, hearsay.
Admission of a party, Your Honor, and goes to show intent and motive.
Overruled.
They didn't come out and say they were mad, they just kind of...
Corporal, did Lieutenant Kendrick leave a standing order at that meeting?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
Well, it was clear that he didn't want us to take matters into our own hands, sir.
What was the order?
Sir, he said Santiago wasn't to be touched.
Your witness.
Corporal Hammaker, were you in Dawson and Downey's room 10 minutes after that meeting?
No, sir.
So you don't know whether or not these defendants were given a different order at that time. You have no idea.
No, sir.
Thanks. I have no more questions.
And he was pronounced dead at 0037.
And Dr. Stone, what's lactic acidosis?
So if the muscles and other cells of the body burn brown sugar instead of oxygen, lactic acid is produced. That lactic acid is what caused Santiago's lungs to bleed.
Interesting. And how long does it take for the muscles and other cells to begin burning oxygen instead of sugar?
Should be about 20 to 30 minutes.
And what caused Santiago's muscles and other cells to start burning sugar?
An ingested poison of some kind.
Your Honor, we object at this point. The witness is speculating. This is inadmissible under Rule 602, lack of personal knowledge. A witness may not testify to a matter unless evidence is introduced sufficient to support a finding that the witness had personal knowledge of the matter.
Commander Stone is an expert medical witness in this courtroom. His opinion isn't considered speculation. Rule 602 is subject to the provisions of Rule 703, opinion testimony by experts. We can reasonably rely upon his expert witness, upon an expert, this expert witness in this particular field.
Rule 703 does not apply. He is not an expert in this particular field. Commander Stone is an internist and is not a criminologist, and the medical facts here are ultimately inconclusive.
A point which I'm confident you'll illustrate to the jury in cross-examination, so I'm sure you won't mind if you'll admit it now.
No, not at all, sir. Objection withdrawn. Doctor, who would be deemed an expert in your field in lactic acidosis?
Well, any doctor.
Doctor, have you written any articles or lectured on this area of medicine? Just a yes or no, please.
No.
Have you ever diagnosed someone independent of this case who had this type of poisoning?
No.
You only knew what the cause of death was here because of the autopsy report, correct?
Yes.
And you would not consider yourself an expert on lactic acidosis.
Well, not based on the criteria you just said, but just on my general physician's knowledge.
Move to strike those portions of the testimony regarding cause of death.
Sustained, but counsel, the autopsy report is still admitted into evidence, and that ruling stands.
Colonel, the 6 a.m. flight was the first one off the base?
Yes.
There wasn't a flight that left 7 hours earlier and landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 2 a.m.?
Lieutenant, I think we've covered this, haven't we?
Your Honor, these are the Tower Chief's logs for both Guantanamo Bay and Andrews Air Force Base. The Guantanamo log lists no flight leaving the airport at 11 p.m. and the Andrews log lists no flight that landed at 2 a.m. I'd like to have them admitted as defense exhibits A and B.
I don't understand. You're admitting evidence of a flight that never existed?
We believe it did, sir. Defense will be calling Airman El Malley and Airman Perez. They were working the ground crew at Andrews Base at 2 a.m. on the 7th.
Your Honor, these men weren't on the list.
Rebuttal witnesses, Your Honor, called specifically to refute expert testimony offered during direct examination. We are allowed to impeach those witnesses and attack their credibility according to Rule 607.
I'll allow the witnesses.
This is ridiculous.
Colonel, a moment ago.
Check the tower logs for Christ's sake.
We'll get to the airmen in just a minute, sir. A moment ago, you said that you ordered Kendrick to order his men not to touch Santiago.
That's right.
And Kendrick was clear on what you wanted?
Crystal.
Any chance Kendrick ignored the order?
Ignored the order?
Any chance he just forgot about it?
No.
Any chance that when Kendrick went and spoke to the platoon and ordered them not to touch Santiago, that they just ignored him?
Have you ever spent time in an infantry unit, son?
No, sir.
Ever served in a forward area?
No, sir.
Ever put your life in another man's hands? Ask him to put his life in yours?
No, sir.
We follow orders, son. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Are we clear?
Crystal. Colonel, I have just one more question before I call Airman Perez and Airman O'Malley. If you gave an order that Santiago wasn't to be touched, and your orders are always followed, then why would he be in danger? Why would it be necessary to transfer him off the base?
Private Santiago was a substandard Marine. He was being transferred off the base because...
That's not what you said. You said he was being transferred because he was in grave danger.
Yes, that's correct.
You
but-
said he was in danger, I said grave danger, you said?
Yes, I recall what...
I can have the court reporter read it back to you.
I know what I said. I don't need it read back to me like I'm a dam.
No, sir. You made it clear just a moment ago that your men never take matters into their own hands. Your men follow orders or people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in danger at all, should he have, Colonel?
You little bastard.
I think we need to ask for a little recess here, sir, in order to just, have some recess time.
I'd like to have an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
If Kendrick told his men that Santiago wasn't to be touched, then why did you give the transfer order? Colonel? Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? He did it because Kendrick did it because that's what you told him to do!
Object! This calls for hearsay as defined by Rule 801 and prohibited by Rule 802. Colonel Jessup cannot testify what Kendrick said.
Counsel.
Or to what Kendrick said.
You're on thin ice, counsel.
And when it went bad, you cut those guys loose.
Your Honor!
That'll be all, counsel.
And you had Markinson sign the funny transfer order.
Come on, Judge!
And you doctor the logbooks.
No!
I'll ask for the fourth time, Colonel.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to them.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.